Hi everyone, and today we're going to take a look at a very interesting line against the Jobava London. So and I'm talking about the line where black goes knight f6, so the Indian game, knight c3, and here really the best move is to go d5. I have checked a lot of lines, but I think you actually do need to stop this e4 threat, grabbing space in the center. And after bishop f4, the Jobava London is on the board. And here my suggestion, well, one interesting move I found is to here go bishop d7. And you might think, well, this looks like a very strange move, but bear with me and you will soon see the advantages. So what we actually want to do is go e6, go a6, then c5, and actually what we want to try to prove is that white is playing sort of a French structure with his pawn on e3 instead of e4. So here you see the French structure. Probably we will play a6 next also. So in the French, usually, well, the pawn is already on e4. Let's quickly show this. So let's show quickly the French. So as you can see here the pawn is already putting pressure in the center. And with our play, we're basically trying to argue that white is more or less playing a poorer version of the mainline French with knight c3. So also notice that we don't mind giving away this bishop, since it's often difficult to find a good spot for it anyway. You see it's trapped in the pawn chain, and if we trade it for one of white's pieces, our remaining pieces are very active. This bishop can move, this bishop can move freely between the pawns, and so we don't really mind giving up this bishop here. So knight f3. Let's first take a look actually at knight b5 here. So knight b5, immediately attacking this here. And like I said, we don't mind giving up this bishop. And if you notice, you will probably recognize this pawn structure from openings like the Semi-Slav or the Caro-Kann. And after bishop d3, we play bishop d6, immediately challenging this bishop and trying to, if possible, rob white of his bishop pair, which is a tiny advantage he has at the moment. So here after bishop g3, we just take it. And also notice that when the bishop has left the queen side, this pawn is often weak, which means we can attack it. Doesn't always mean we will take it. In some cases you will take it, in some cases not. You really have to do your calculation right. In this case, probably you will be able to take it, since after something like queen takes b2 and rook b1, you actually have the in-between move queen c3. So that's why white probably will play b3. And here you play h5, stopping any g4 IDs. And after something like c4, and I will quickly show an example line here, a5, stopping b4. Well, stopping also c5 followed by b4. And if white insists, you just continue developing. c7 is often a good square for the queen. And after this, you can just castle. and after knight f3, black actually has a very nice position where it's already possible to open the center or to break in the center with e5. Also notice that if white tries to go after this pawn, it's not so great. So here you have a lot of different ideas. You can go rook a7 followed by rook a8, then play b6. You could also immediately play b6, and also one option is to go e5. So this pawn in this position isn't that important. You can continue with your queenside play. This king is still in the center, so it should be fine for you. So let's go back, and after let's see if we let's see here. Okay, let's take a look at knight f3 then. So here we play a6, and we prevent white had one chance to jump knight b5, which, as you've seen, isn't so good, but now we prevent it. After bishop d3 we play c5. The best move for white is to actually take the pawn with c5, and after bishop takes e5, let's say castles. If instead of castles white goes knight e5, then you can always go knight c6. Sometimes you can also go bishop c6. So here knight c6, after castles. Knight takes e7 isn't too threatening. You take back with a knight here, and after e4. We often, when this e4 happens, we often react with d4, grabbing space, and you see our pieces protect this pawn very well, and white will have some problems because this takes some important squares in this position. So here bishop e7, and after bishop g3 trying to go f4, knight c5, let's say f4, b5 taking space. Also notice this diagonal, and after let's say f5 you can play e5, you see, and nothing is going on here. For example, here you can play bishop g5, and it's a fine position for black. So don't worry about white taking this bishop. So instead of knight e5, most people here castle. Then we play bishop c6. If knight e5 here, then we can play bishop d6. Taking a look at this bishop, and after take with the knight, and now these piece trades are okay for black. E4, let me think. Yeah, I was thinking probably d4 is also good here, and black is also okay in this variation. Finally, one important variation to be aware of is after bishop d3 c5. What if white doesn't take but castles? This gives us the opportunity to play c4, drive the bishop back, and you see that our pieces are already on very natural squares to attack the queen side. So here bishop b4 is the move, and after let's say 95 castles, let's say a3. This structure is actually very good for black, and here you can play something like Let's show a sample line. Here to play f6 and after e4. Here you even have this fork. White might try knight h6, destroying your pawn cover, but it's really not so good for him. It might look dangerous, but you have this rook protecting the second rank. You have a lot of pieces you can bring into the defense, and in contrast to some lines, these pieces can move around quite freely. So there you go, an interesting and pretty easy way to play against the Jobava London, as long as you remember the ideas behind it. So you want to build a French pawn structure, maybe probably also play a6 at the right moment, go c5 and try to prove to white that he is actually playing more or less a worse version of the mainline French, where he would rather have a pawn on e4. So that's the one tempo that he's missing from the mainline French. Obviously, he maybe also has some other plans, but they shouldn't be too dangerous. So here, this will give you a good play. One thing to remember, don't be scared to lose the bishop pair. Once this bishop is traded, your pieces are still, well, you still have good pieces, you see. They can move around quite freely, and it's possible that white will have to give up one of these bishops anyway. And with this pawn structure, if you're familiar with the Caro-Kann, with the French defense, you know that it's not always such a big deal that this light square bishop is missing. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, please like, subscribe or leave a comment. And I will see you maybe in one of the next ones.